A long bomb heave in overtime drops Michigan to 500 on the year. Wolverines not getting it done out in Eugene, Oregon, taking on the Ducks on this Saturday. Welcome into the Michigan basketball postgame live. The Wolverines go down in overtime 86-83 in a game where Michigan made some big plays down the stretch in regulation and in overtime, but Oregon makes one more and walks away with the 3-point overtime victory. Have a game like this, there's lots to look back on, and we will do that, and let's get with it. And, I'm looking at this game as I was watching it, game number 8 on the season for Michigan, the first time back since playing 3 in a row last week in the Bahamas. Michigan taking on their future Big Ten brethren in Oregon on that nasty looking floor that, at times very annoying to watch. I'd rather watch like bars and test patterns on the TV. Sometimes it feels like that, but noteworthy that Jalen Llewellyn playing his first game in a year's time got out there. So good to have Jalen Llewellyn back. It was a 3-point game at the half. And then in the second half, it was the Doug McDaniel show. Doug McDaniel comes out and hits 1, 2, 3, 4 threes in a row. Hits his 5th 3 in a row. He had 33 points in regulation. There were 2 shots that the Ducks had to win it with under 15 seconds left, and they weren't able to connect. So we did end up going to overtime, and in the overtime, the Ducks got up by 5. They got a 3-point play with the first possession, and Michigan missed their shot. They come back, and they're up 5. But Michigan didn't go away. Damari Burnett had a 3. And then when it came down to the end, Oregon missed a couple free throws that made it a 2-point game with just over a minute to go in overtime. And then it was Will Cheddar hitting a big 3 to tie things up at 81 with a minute left to go. Then Oregon really executes. They come down, they drive the lane, dish, and get a dunk, and they're up 2. But Kamwa hits a big-time J in the paint to tie it up at 83, and you're thinking, man, that's execution, and Kamwa didn't have his best game. But then you have a long bomb 3 with 1.4 to go, 28-footer. The announcer said it was from downtown. You'd say, hey, he didn't have a hand in his face, got to close out a little bit stronger. If you're Michigan there, you got to play a guy out to 30 feet. Yes, even 35 feet, just give somebody a clean look out there. Doug McDaniel does get a heave, and it actually catches iron, maybe a little glass, a little iron, his desperation heave at the end. Jackson Shellstat was the young man who made the big-time shot for the Ducks. It drops Michigan to 4-4 on the season in an exciting game. McDaniel did not get a lot of help in this one and did get some big-time shots late. Help overall. He was carrying Michigan. He's not going to be able to do that all year. He's going to need help. Will Cheddar could be that guy. Kamwa, who, like I said earlier, didn't have his best game, but then made that big J in the paint with 18 seconds to go to tie this one up. And then you got to make one more play, make one more stop, one more play, and that's where Michigan was not able to do that. In Michigan's losses this year, when you look, they've won 4 and, they've lost 4 in their wins, especially the first 3 games. I mean, they looked everyone out there. They're starting 5, 6, 7 players. And now you got Llewellyn at 8. And those wins in those first 3, Michigan, everyone played well. And then in their first 3 losses, it was like almost everyone played poorly, below where you would say, hey, they would want to play. That's been kind of that was as I was looking at it heading into today, the tail of the tape for Michigan. Everyone plays well. Michigan wins, and then in their losses, almost everyone played poorly. And then today, it was McDaniel putting Michigan on his back with a career high 33 points. And then, you got to make some plays, big time plays down the stretch. And they made some. Oregon just made one more. Let's take a look at that box score and see if it tells us. It will tell us some things. McDaniel overall, Michigan on the game, they shoot 48% from the field, 41.9 from downtown. Those are pretty good numbers. You look at that, you'd say they'd have a pretty good shot to win if you looked at it after the game, and they did have a pretty good shot to win. McDaniel, 33 points, including those 5 threes. He had 4 threes in a row, and then he missed some shots, but then his next 3 was his 5th. So actually his first 5 attempts in the second half from downtown were all good, but 33 points, 4 boards, 3 assists for McDaniel, who was 7 of 12 from downtown. Damari Burnett, 13 points. He hit a big 3 in overtime. Burnett also with 5 boards and 3 assists on 4 of 8 shooting. Kamwa, Michigan's leading scorer heading in, along with McDaniel, did not have one of his better games, although he did hit a big shot late with 18 seconds to go in overtime. 12 points, 5 boards, and a feed, but 4 of 12 from the floor from Kamwa, including 1 of 6 from downtown. He airmailed 1 in the overtime as well. TW2, taking a look at the remaining starters, 8 points for TW2, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 of 7 from the floor. TW2 did hit 3 big free throws in the regulation that helped Michigan keep it close and get to overtime. Disappointing game for Terrace Reed. Goose egg for Reed and just 3 boards. You don't need me to tell you that they're going to need more from Reed Jr. And if you're also someone, and I think that, it's fair when you're not winning the majority of your games, and right now Michigan is 500, it is automatic that people would say, hey, maybe change up the lineup. And I think that's a fair thing to do. We talked about that when they were down in the Bahamas. What would I do? I would, it's interesting because Trey Jackson and Will Cheddar, it would be one of those two. And Jackson is instant offense, but he really fits being a bench player because he comes in, you're looking for some scoring, and he can give you that. Cheddar, a little bit similar, but man, Cheddar just plays so, he's got such a fierce demeanor. You could make a case, and I'll make the case, putting both of those guys in and sending TW2 and Terrace Reed Jr. to the bench. If they came out next game and did that, now, hey, look, they're starting the Big Ten up. They're playing Indiana, hosting Indiana Tuesday night. So, you can say this is the perfect time. I don't know if there's a perfect time, it can be time. That would not be a big surprise. And if you're somebody that says, yes, they should automatically shake things up and I would say fair, very fair. That would be a fair question to Phil Martelli when he had his next availability as Michigan's acting head coach. Very fair question, I would think there. We always take your feedback during these shows, Matthew. And people just jumping in there. Everybody's excited, get ready for tonight's football game. We get that whenever you might be listening to this. Heck, it might be Monday night. It's always here for you. We're on after the game, but then it's always available for you. We understand, it's championship Saturday. I get that. Derek saying that Doug needs help. No question. He can't put it all on his shoulders. And Derek talking about TW2 disappearing after the 3 free throws. Yeah, well, that's where the idea of possibly shaking things up with the starting lineup comes in. And Would I do it? Probably. And it's totally fair to talk about that. Let's look at some of the other numbers. We go to the bench for that. I thought we'd go to the bench. Let's see why I'm not going to the bench. Here we go. Get all of the guys in there. I just got the starting five. Let me get the total box score. Well, I've got it right here. Cheddar ends up with 8 points. Trey Jackson with 7, and Llewellyn, who came back and played, ended up with a deuce, had a nice drive on his way back. Now, on his return, his debut for the season after being out for about a year with that knee injury. Is this something that would save Michigan's season? Talking about making a change in the lineup. Maybe not. That's why they might not go with it, because you can make a case like TW2 where his confidence is at. He's a captain on this team. Not that all of that matters so much if you thought that it would help the team, but like I said, both Jacks, it's like they've got 3 guys that fit being nice bench players: Cheddar, Trey Jackson, and TW2. So, you've got to start one of those guys. And now you have a struggling Terrace Reed Jr. So you could say, hey, maybe Reed, but, it could be a confidence thing with Reed too. So, sending him to the bench and then putting 2 guys in that are best fit to be bench players anyways, could be a little bit of a quandary for the coaching staff. It could be as much as, a mental makeup, team chemistry kind of thing more than anything else. But you say at some point you shake things up. Maybe they go into the Big Ten. They've got 2 games coming up against conference opponents. Neither of those games are going to be easy. I watched Indiana. Was it last night? I think it was last night. Watching Indiana play Maryland. Indiana's got a big front court. So you're thinking about taking a read out, maybe not necessarily against what IU is throwing at you with their front line. You're going to need a guy like Terrace Reed Jr., if for nothing more than defense and rebounding. So all of that plays into it. We'll see on that. Speaking of that upcoming schedule for Michigan, let's go to it. And for that, it is brought to you, that upcoming Michigan basketball schedule, by this feed right here, which has the Maize and Blue reviews, Good Afternoon Michigan Football and Basketball, which you can hear and see right here on this channel 3 times a week at 2:00, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and then after football and basketball games. So yeah, after this basketball game, and then tonight after the football game as well. And that upcoming schedule looks like this. Michigan, they will host the Indiana Hoosiers coming up in a 9:00. Does that say Peacock? It does. Peacock for Indiana and Michigan. Give that one a thumbs down. I think I still have Peacock from September when I had a month, and I don't think I canceled it. So maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But there it is again. It's the first time that I realized it was going to be on the Cock on Tuesday night, 9:00. Let me try to make my way down there at Chrysler Center. And then it's not going to be an easy game. And then you speed it and fast forward all the way till Sunday, a matinee in Iowa City against the Iowa Hawkeyes, who after tonight with the football team, their basketball team might be looking for a little revenge. Who knows? Try to have some fun there. But, they do this with the schedule. They put 2 conference games before the new year. I like that. Mixes it up a little bit. After these 2, they'll go back and then they'll play some more teams and games and some opponents that you've never heard of, in college basketball. So I like it from that standpoint, but don't like the record at this point. Like what I saw from Doug McDaniel, but as it's been pointed out, and I think it's the right thing to say. I mean, it's very easy. Let's restart this show. Welcome in. Michigan loses in overtime out in Oregon, 86-83. Doug McDaniel had a career high 33. Folks, McDaniel needs help. Thanks a lot, everybody. We will talk with you on Tuesday night. He can't do it alone. He has to have guys stepping up around him. He can't just be a one-man show. It's not going to work if Michigan wants to get where they want to be. And let's be honest, where they want to be is in the NCAA tournament. And, you watch them for the first 3 games of the year and you think, man, this team's got something. Look at, man, they're playing well together. This thing, they've got it. Look at, they're one of the nice stories in college basketball. Well, that's gone away right now. So, now they're staring in the face 2 conference games here, and you don't want to start sliding after the way they played with their last game against Texas Tech down in the Caribbean to come back and then lose this one out in Oregon, the IU game, and then heading down the road. Suddenly these losses, you don't want all that. So Doug McDaniel is going to need help. We'll see if they make a change in the lineup. As I've thought about it, thinking about the size that the Hoosiers will have in that front line, I think that they will continue with what they have. But, it could happen. That is going to do it. If you're watching this if you're live watching this, you're just waiting around for the big game tonight. I will talk with you after the game at Lucas Oil Field tonight. If you're watching this after the fact, you already know what happens. I hope you're happy with what transpires. I'm expecting that you're going to be happy. We'll talk with you basketball-wise Tuesday late night after the Michigan IU game. And then I'll see you later on tonight for those of you that are catching this live after Michigan Iowa in the Big Ten title game. Until then, it is a final 86-83. Michigan falls to 4-4 on the year. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching.